Hello everyone, George Packard Family Lawn and Landscape, and today we're going to talk a little bit about some carburetor problems and doing a little adjusting on the carbs. So promised you guys this video for a little while, and I have a perfect example of one of these. This is an FS55R that we're using that is not running very good at all. So what I'm going to do is put that in there, and then I'm going to have you guys listen to this so you'll probably recognize it. Okay, well, you recognize that. So, here's some of the basics on what you look for, okay? So, first and foremost, get into this air cleaner, okay? Man, don't do that. But, you make sure that the air cleaners are clean, okay? What I do is, I take gasoline and I put it in a little bucket, like a little coffee can, and I'll rinse this thing back and forth in there, and it cleans all the dirt and the soot and the oil and whatnot out of there. So it's really clean. And then what I'll do is I'll throw it up on my dash or just leave it up on the counter here and let it dry, and then I put it back in place. So that's one of the first things you want to do, is make sure you get a good clean air filter, okay? Now, second thing is right in here, and I'm going to try to show you guys what I'm after. So this is one of the biggest things that I check, and hopefully you guys can see it. I'll try and shine a light on it for you here. Okay, so in here you're going to see that little exhaust port right here, okay? We're going to take that port out of there, so hopefully you guys can see that. All right, we're going to take that out, because what happens is they come from the factory, and they actually have a screen on them when they come from the factory. All right, and the first thing I do is I tear those screens off, and I know what I'm going to hear from everybody is probably hotter than a pistol. Yeah, not too bad. But what I'm going to hear from everybody is this. Everybody seems to think that you can't take those off because they tell you that these are spark arresters. Okay, so take a look at this. That's your carb, okay? That is... Look through that. See that? See all that junk inside there? God damn it, that's hot. All right, whoops, I guess I go this way. You guys will be able to see it a little better, kind of. Get my big hands out of the way. But you see all that shit inside there, right? Okay. Normally, they come with a big screen right on the end of these. First thing I do is I rip those screens right off. But you can see just how plugged that is on the end of that. Look at all that junk in there. You know? Just complete corrosion. So what I want to do is put this in a vise and clean this thing up. So I'll take a wire brush to it, which is here, and just get in there and clean all that junk out of there. Kind of open up the hole. And then take a little screwdriver that I have here, I go around in there, and I just ream that out. Just get in there and ream that stuff out of that hole. Okay? Clean as much of that crap out of there as you can get. See what I mean? Yeah. All right. Now that is way better. Still a little bit here and there. Try to get as much out as you can. All right. Once I do that, then take this thing, and be careful you don't, obviously you don't want to do this when it's really hot, or you're just going to burn your hands. Screw that back in there, because that is your silencer. I mean, that calms her down quite a bit. Tighten her up. Let's see if that made a difference. All right. Still not good. Therefore, that leads me to believe that we have to do a little adjusting on the carburetor. So, let's work on that. All right, so, all right, so when you're adjusting on these things, I got to show you guys something on here. So, you got a high and a low, and this is the way it was described to me by our steel dealer. And I want to kind of show you guys. So, you got a high screw and a low screw, okay? If you can see these two in here. What he said, now this is a new carburetor that we just put on, okay? So it's brand new. And I knew this thing was running like crap, and sure enough, that thing was plugged, so that's a big part of it. But then, it ran better, but it still isn't running as good as it could be. So, what he says to do is tighten both of these down all the way. Turn them 1.5 times around. So I find a little mark, or take a little marker and put a little mark on your screwdriver or something, so that when you're turning it, you can actually see, you know, if you had a little magic marker here, let me grab one and show you. All right, so for example, there's that little dot. So that's my little mark, okay? On my little screwdriver that you usually get with these when you purchase them. So, now, you've got the high and the low. So each one you tighten all the way down, then turn them 1.5 turns out. So you basically, 1.5 turns, when you start, if this is right on top, all right, you've got that your little mark here, it's right on top. So you want to turn this thing all the way 1 time, that's 1 turn. Now turn it all the way to the bottom, that's 1.5. Okay, everybody follow that? All right, so if you're going to turn it, let's say I was working on it this way, so easier for you to tell. So when you stick this on that screw, you turn it all the way 1 time around, and then give it another half, and that's 1.5 turns. So if you do that for both these screws, and then pull on it, pull on it, pull on it. And the other thing is, guys, make sure you have fresh gas. It's got to be super fresh gas in here when you're doing this stuff. So I did that. So I drained the gas, put new gas in, adjusted these, and now I actually fine-tuned it a little bit, so it's working way better. So, and after you do that 1.5 times, then what I was told to do is just adjust very slightly on your high screw. You know, they'll be marked with an H or an L, so high and low. You know, high is, I think, always on the left, I believe. But, you know, if it's not, it's not. But it's high and low. So after we get it running, then I'm going to try to fine-tune it and make sure it's right. So let's see how it works. Okay, that being said, things we covered. Again, just to go over real quick, make sure your air cleaner is cleaned out. Then this thing, this exhaust back here, make sure that that port is cleaned out. And I'll give you guys another trick. When you're with these air cleaners, especially if you have them on your trailer, and you're going down the road, what happens is water gets in the side of these boxes, okay? So when the water gets in here, it gets these wet. All of a sudden, this thing just runs like complete shit. Pull this thing out, throw it on the dash of your truck, go down the road, do a job or two, let the sun work on it, and it'll actually dry this thing back out. Then put it back on, and she'll run like $1,000,000, okay? You can take it off, and you can get by. It'll run better for you, okay? And then once you get it dried out again, throw it back in there, because you don't want to run without this too long, okay? So, once that's done, you rip the screen off of those, make sure that's cleaned out. Those are your fine-tuned adjustments for it. And that's that. So that is how to adjust the carbs on these steel products. And they're all pretty much the same. So there's not a real big difference between them and different manufacturers even. The whole principle is just about the same. So anyway, this has been George Packard with Family Lawn and Landscape. I hope this helps you out a little bit, you guys. I know I learned a little something from it, and that's what we do to correct the problem. So good luck.